And we're live. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Hard Foul. Hope you're enjoying yourself however you are watching and or listening, whether it's on SoundCloud, iTunes. If you are listening on Stitcher, you are watching on YouTube, one of the segment videos. If you are tuned in for the live stream, live stream's a little bit different this time. Trying something out, seeing how it works. We do have the live chat up, so if you want to sit there and comment, or if you have something you'd like me to throw in at the end of the show, I would gladly oblige. Of course, gotta have people to do it. But hey, I got 101 subscribers. Someone's got to say something, right? So I didn't get to record last week, or I only got to record one show last week. I've been doing a lot more stuff behind the scenes, but not everything I've been able to do currently or these last week or so has been something I can directly upload into content. For that, I kind of apologize, but there is a bigger goal in mind. So understand that. So we got to start today, though, off by talking about the Golden State Warriors. We are going to get to LeBron later in the show, and we're going to talk about how I think LeBron's possibly, this is the first one I'll say, he's playing the best that he's ever played, but I still don't think it matters. But that's for later in the show. We're getting two questions these last couple of days about the Golden State Warriors. And for a team and is the heavy favorite to win 3 out of 4. These are some odd questions, I think, to be asked. But let's dive into it, right? The first one is, are the Golden State Warriors lucky? Are they the luckiest dynasty we've ever seen? And this is from everyone that's going out there and saying, oh, well, they didn't play a starting point guard in 2015. Oh, they had obviously the Kawhi injury. This year now the Chris Paul injury, they're just getting all these breaks and none of their guys get hurt. Wow, like they're just so lucky. What? The reason why I have an issue with this one, let me take it from two perspectives. My issue with it is this narrative is kind of being written by the guys who are big time LeBron fans. Okay? And that's fine. And I get it. If you're a fan of a player or a team and they have a counterpart or a rival, you are going to pick apart that counterpart or rival, and you're going to make your guy look better. But LeBron fans, do not act like for a second that you're not the first ones to go up and celebrate how LeBron never gets hurt. And the fact that he's played so many years and so many minutes is one of the best things about him. He doesn't get hurt. He's always there. He can't blame that if other guys can't stay as healthy as him. So why should the Warriors feel bad? I hear all the time this really old sport adage that availability is the best ability. So shouldn't the fact the Warriors have 4 guys who have been primarily healthy when it matters, shouldn't they be congratulated for that? You can say Steph's injury prone, but he doesn't miss time in the playoffs. Let's also understand something. The teams that the Golden State Warriors beat that had players that were injured, who was actually beating the Warriors to begin with on those teams? Did you really think that one of those teams in 2015 were going to defeat Golden State? No. Golden State, without those injuries, were going to be favored in those series. Golden State, but with Chris Paul, now obviously the series changed and the Rockets played a hell of a series. Congratulations to them. But going into the series and continuing with the series, the thought process was Golden State was the better team. Golden State was the favorites. Golden State should win. Even before it was announced Chris Paul's going to miss Game 6 and 7, the majority of people would have taken the Warriors to win 2 straight, Game 6 in Golden State and Game 7 in Houston, healthy Chris Paul or not. Let's go to the one that everyone's going to throw out there, and that's the 2015 finals. And they're going to say, well, the Cavaliers would have beaten them if they had Kyrie. Look at how LeBron played. He had Matthew Dellavedova, Timothy Mozgov. He would have just done it. Like LeBron's that great. He would have absolutely won if he had Kyrie Irving. Except that LeBron's the same guy who's absolutely that great and is absolutely lost with Kyrie Irving and Dwayne Wade, and both those guys putting up 26 and 28 in finals. And he still found a way to lose. Okay, but LeBron's that great. He obviously would have automatically won, right? Like that's why his finals record is so good, because he always wins when he has good teammates. Always wins when he has great teammates with him. That's all you got to do. Just put LeBron with one of the really good guys. It's not like he's had Hall of Famers on his team. No big. So this idea that the Golden State Warriors are lucky or the luckiest dynasty we've ever had is a bunch of bull. Because I can use that exact same argument when it comes to LeBron's dominance in the East, which I want to avoid at the moment because that's coming up later in the show. I can say that he's very lucky for the conference he plays in. I can say he's very lucky because of the way the NBA has shifted. I can say he's lucky because of how the rules are now. But I will give LeBron his credit and give LeBron his respect. He has earned that. But so have the Warriors. They're the best team in the league. It's not really that close, despite what this last series showed us. And the Golden State Warriors will still have a chance to win 3 out of 4, a realistic chance to win 4 out of 5, and we'll see how long this dynasty goes. From there, we're going to go into the other question or other theory around the Warriors. Is their dynasty coming to an end? If you look at it, the Rockets pushed them to 7 games. Ooh, Rockets got them to 7 games. Clear. The Warriors, they're not as good as they once were. I mean, it's not like they don't have still the greatest shooter of all time, maybe another top 5 shooter of all time, one of the most versatile guys and best role players in Draymond Green currently in the league, and maybe he might be one of the best role players of all time. Oh, and then you have Kevin Durant, who's still this 6'11" monster who shoots and gets any shot he wants. But their dynasty's coming to an end, guys. They're 30 and 31 years old. Ooh, look out. They're getting up there in age, too. Ooh. I could go in history and find every single dynasty, with the exception of Michael Jordan, that the team has a lapse during their dynastic run. Magic got swept in a series during the 80s when his team was still great. Bird has get knocked out in the second round. Hell, for all the LeBron fans, you guys love to talk about Mike lost to Shaq in 95. And you're just like, whoop, let's bring the tape up. Mike lost, see? So the fact we want to talk about the Warriors dynasty coming to an end because Houston took them to 7 games, or you want to talk about, okay, well, how would they be if Kawhi was healthy last year? Would they have played this well? Hey, if they had these other guys who were injured, would these series have been more competitive? No. Because once again, the Warriors still have the best shooter on the planet. They're currently the second best shooter on the planet and currently the third best shooter on the planet. Their team, player for player, is still better than everybody else, and there is no one that can deny the Warriors playing their A game is better than everybody else's A game. And it's not like they lost. They simply went to 7 games, which is their only other 7-game series they've had during this stretch, besides the finals, when they did lose, when the greatest player on the planet, LeBron James, played the best basketball he's ever played in his life. The Warriors are not the luckiest dynasty of all time, and their dynasty is not coming to an end anytime soon. That is fan talk. That is people who are, which I get. I get that we're all tired of this. We're tired of LeBron versus the Warriors, especially because we all kind of figure it's going to be a sweep or a 5-game series that's really not that competitive, and we don't want to see that because these playoffs have been great, and it'd be a real dud to sit there and be like, oh, why would, if you have these great playoffs and then you have this anticlimactic finals, it's like this great book with a really crappy ending. And we don't want that. But the Warriors aren't losing to the Cavs. Do you realize, to end this note, the Warriors have LeBron James' number the same way LeBron has the Raptors' number? And I'm not saying LeBron's as scared of the Warriors as the Raptors are, because he will go out and he will put up a fight. But that same mentality of we really don't have a chance. Like, did anyone see the picture that showed up? And it was LeBron in the locker room. It was a really funny picture, made all its way all over Twitter. Then it was LeBron sitting he had his trophy of the Eastern Conference Finals, and he was sitting on the floor, and he had this exhausted face. And he just had this, and there was like, as soon as LeBron saw that Golden State won, because LeBron knows this dynasty's not even close to over. And LeBron knows he's got to worry someone who's so conscious of his legacy, he might not get another ring as long as his current Golden State team is put together. This is the part where I would normally say you are listening, we'll be back, but I would love also to be able to sit there and throw out a sponsor, but unfortunately I don't have any sponsors yet. But you know, if you are someone that is watching the show and you got some money to throw at it, feel very free. We accept all here at HardFoul. Shout out to those of you that already support us on Patreon. Shout out if you're one of the people that are subscribed. Shout out if you're one of the people that view The Feud. We air it on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I am looking to bring a camera over there and get consistent videos up from there. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes work, so it's not stuff that's not always going to go straight into content, but it is stuff that is furthering the business, furthering the company, furthering the network, and eventually we'll put a better product up for you guys. Also, shout out to Mr. Eric. Let's see, here we go. So we got Warriors always getting away when they face a good team when someone has to get hurt. Hashtag Braun to Houston, and I saw that. Okay, so to respond really quick, I was going to wait till the end of the show, but since he's our first person in here, let's respond. Who is Chris Paul? And I love Chris Paul. Chris Paul is my second favorite player in the league. This is the first time Chris Paul has ever played a series against Steph Curry where he definitively was the better point guard in that series. Steph Curry has handed it to Chris Paul since he got in the league. And I'm not even talking about just MVP Steph Curry. I'm talking about when Steph first entered the league. When it was Steph and Monte Ellis in Golden State's backcourt. When it was Steph and a really young Klay Thompson. Steph has always been the better player when they play head-to-head. And Chris Paul was having the series of his life. So this idea that, okay, they only lost to Houston because of that? No. Because what is Chris Paul doing about them going 0 for 27 from 3? What is Chris Paul doing about Game 6 and Golden State just going crazy and Klay Thompson going crazy? They're not. Sorry. But appreciate you, Eric, for joining in and watching the show. Now that we've talked about our Warriors, let's also talk about our Eastern Conference champions. LeBron James is going to his 8th straight final. Whoa. So, as someone who's been a fan of realistically relatively mediocre teams, the idea that you have a team that can go to 8 straight finals, 8 straight championship events, that's kind of mind-blowing, right? But let's not act like LeBron is doing this. It is all-time, but I'm not going to give it all-time great, right? Never in the history of sports or in the world as it works today do we truly give someone credit for trying besides children, right? Like if I told you that you were going to be accepted into this university and it's a prestigious university, right? And then I'm going to give you this opportunity to be accepted into 5 prestigious universities. And you go to every single one of them. You're just like, I want to get all this knowledge, but you don't get a single degree. Are you supposed to be complimented and rewarded and revered? If I were to tell you that you were going to be given this opportunity to take this test, which is only given to people that are borderline geniuses, right? We used to have it in middle school. It's called the GATE test, and it was just for if you were above average academically, or they thought you were smarter than you should be, or you could skip a grade, they give you the GATE test. And I took it. I don't know why they gave it to me. I did really bad. I was not smarter than the average person. So LeBron is a genius, and they give him this genius test, and he gets this genius test 8 times because they just know every year it's like, dude, you were just the smartest kid in the class every year. Come take this test. And he passes it less than 50% of the time. I'm not saying that LeBron shouldn't be rewarded for going to 8 straight finals in terms of that is an achievement, and we may never see that again. But let's stop acting like 3 and 5 in the finals or going to be 3-6 in the finals is better than some of the records. And I'm take away Jordan being 6-0, right? That's easy one to go to. Put Duncan at 5-1. Take a Kobe at 5-2. Take a Magic at 5-3. Why is LeBron's finals streak supposed to be considered or compared to those guys? And I heard someone say that what's the volume? If you have that much volume, you're going to twice as many finals as these other guys, then that you should be commended and you should be revered for that. Then why isn't Jim Kelly a top 5 quarterback all time? This is always my go-to comparison when it comes to the final streak that LeBron has and where that should realistically rank him. And understand, I'm not the person who says you should outright be the GOAT or you should be the greatest ever just because you have more rings. So with that same logic, you should not be outright the GOAT or the greatest ever because you got the most appearances. Jim Kelly went to 4 straight Super Bowls with the Buffalo Bills. That will never happen again as far as I'm concerned. But we don't put Jim Kelly as one of the all-time greats. And they're like, okay, well, that's because Jim Kelly never won and LeBron's already got 3 rings. Would Jim Kelly be that much better if he was 1-3? Think about it. Like, John Elway only turned around his reputation. He was 0-3 in Super Bowls. He got to 5. He only turned around his reputation because he won back-to-back. You know, you got to win those back-to-back. And even then, he still has a losing record in the Super Bowl, which is why he gets put a notch below Montana and Brady, despite being as physically gifted and despite being as talented as anyone to ever play the position. LeBron, 8 consecutive finals is an achievement. It is not this say-all, be-all plaque that determines you to be the GOAT or should be the defining sentence on your tombstone of your career that I went to 8 straight finals or I'm going to go to 9 straight finals. Just getting there is not enough. Otherwise, Jim Kelly's got to be a top 5 quarterback. Otherwise, Jerry West has to be a top 5 NBA player. And they're not, because we value winning. If you get into the school, you need to get the degree. If you're taking the genius test, you got to pass more than you fail. Let me also say something that something that I think should be a better conversation than is LeBron versus MJ for the GOAT, right? LeBron set the record for the most points in a single playoffs before reaching the finals this year. Congratulations, that is a hell of an achievement. Clap it up, okay? With that being said, and this is a compliment to LeBron, by the way, LeBron should now be in the conversation with Shaquille O'Neal as the most physically dominating player we have ever seen. This is the best way I think LeBron has played since he came into the league. I have never watched LeBron James or ever had the thought process of LeBron James that it's like, or the thought of LeBron James, it's like, he's just going to go out and get 40 tonight, right? But that became my thought process about 3 games into this postseason. And for all of you that hate Skip Bayless and love to go to Twitter and talk shit about Skip, Skip was 100% right and has been vindicated by this playoff performance. LeBron has put his head down and gone to the rim and there is not a single player in the league that can stop him. There is not a player probably all time that can stop LeBron James from putting his head down and going to the rim. He's just too big. When you're 6'8", 6'9", and I've always said he's like 270, 280, because I'm 250 and LeBron is a much bigger human than I am. He's unstoppable. And because of that, he has put in 40-point games damn near at will. Like, that is, and I'm as big as a Kobe fan as you can get, but he was just as automatic to get 40 as at any point Kobe Bryant was in his career. Because when you are that much bigger, and if you can especially consider the matchups he went up against, right? Like, Toronto had They kept saying Toronto had no one that could physically guard him. No one had anyone that could physically guard him. There's not a player that exists that can physically guard him. Because if you are a team like the Celtics, who had a really bad matchup, because the only guy that's as tall as him, being an Al Horford or a Jason Tatum, and I think he's a tad bit taller than Tatum. He's about an inch. He's in the middle, like an inch taller than Tatum, an inch shorter than Al. Al's not fast enough to guard him one-on-one. And Jason Tatum damn sure is big enough to guard him one-on-one. Jaylen Brown, not tall enough, not big enough. And if you look at Game 6 and 7 when he played Boston, he had so many switches where he had Terry Rozier on him. That is Shaq on any power forward or small forward that ever switched on him into his career. He's just too big. And let me say, once again, this is a compliment. I love the fact LeBron is playing this way. This is the best way LeBron James can play. Because when he plays Golden State, no one is going to be able to stop him from getting to the rim at will. If he wants 40 points, he will get 40 points. My problem with it is I still don't feel like it's enough. Understand that as great as he's playing right now, as great as we all think he is, as all-time Pantheon player as he is, does anyone think he's beating Golden State? He just struggled with Indiana for 7 games, struggled with Boston for 7 games. Yeah, he beat Toronto, but we just count that because of how scared they are of him. So the best way he could play and the best statistically he's been in a playoff run, and Vegas still has him as a 12-point underdog. Man, see, this is hard. I tried to be really nice. This is a complimentary LeBron segment, and he's still not good enough to beat the Warriors. I always said, LeBron, 4th greatest player of all time. But I think he now has officially earned the right to join the most physically dominating player. Because just like how Shaq back in the day, if Shaq wanted the ball and he was just going to be and just so much bigger than you, and he demanded the ball and he physically got in your chest, he was getting 40 points and no one could stop him. Right now, LeBron, if he wants to drive to the rim, he wants to put an elbow down, wants to put his shoulder down, he will get 40 points and no one can stop him. You're listening to HardFoul Radio. Hope you are enjoying yourself however you are listening, whether it is on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, however you enjoy podcasts. Hope you're enjoying. Like I said, hope you also enjoyed the feud today. No Feelings is dropping on Wednesday. And then also I have another show that I am in the works of, which is like a daily recap sports show that I'm hoping to get started next week. All this obviously is predicated off the amount of time that I have. If you are interested, if you are someone that is interested in more content, as always, there's the Patreon. As always, there's just telling your friends about me and getting more subscribers and more views and making YouTube pay me to do this stuff. And then I have more time and I can give you the full network experience that I want to bring. I'm going to take a second here. Mr. Eric says, do you think Harden was better this year in the playoffs? Now let me retract real quick. So we got NBA is rigged. I don't agree with that one. He's built for this game and so gifted. If we're talking about LeBron, yes, LeBron is the most gifted. And whether you're religious or not, if God was making the perfect human being to play the sport of basketball, it is LeBron James. He's just bigger, faster, stronger, body structure, size. Like he's just built like a monster. Do I think Harden was better this year in the playoffs? No, I don't. I think there is. Are we comparing the fact that he got farther as him playing better? Sure. But when it came down to it, and the playoffs really are just built off of moments, which is one of the things I don't think we always kind of lose sight of, is it's how do you play in these moments, not necessarily how do you play over the totality of a stretch, which is why LeBron has as good a playoff numbers as anybody. I mean, he's already racked up, I think it's his first all-time in field goals now made. He's like 4th all-time in assists. He's top 5 in a couple different categories because he has these streaks that are incredible. But when it comes time for the moments We remember D-Wade in 2006. We remember Dirk in 2011. We remember LeBron in 2016. We remember what KD did last year. Jordan, 41 in Phoenix. And Harden, when it came time for those moments, really didn't deliver. Like, they beat Minnesota. That was just a system. That was a really bad mismatch for Minnesota. Minnesota can't shoot like that. They played Utah, no Ricky Rubio. Utah just kind of played over their head. Cool story. But James Harden, when it came time to prove, like, I am the man, I will take over in this playoffs, he struggled mightily in this last series, and he really struggled the last 2 games. So I can't say that he was better. Final thing I want to hit on today, this is a slightly shorter show, but that's because, like I said, I'm doing so much behind the scenes. Even once I'm done here, I've got to go work on more stuff. Still get editing done, still just this whole process. But I love the process, love being able to bring stuff to you guys, and hope you guys stick with it. So another thing I want to attack is a strong word. I don't have any malice towards any people, so I don't use the word attack. Another storyline that I want to go after, though, is one that's been building up for the last 2 months, which is that Brad Stevens is the best coach in the NBA. Or if you are an old-time guy, you're like, well, Brad Stevens is the second best coach in the NBA. You still have to give it up to Greg Popovich because he's just been there longer, done it. Okay? Let's not even go after where I rank Brad Stevens, because I was discussing this last night, and there's more of this conversation, and I think it's a better back and forth conversation, which is why I did it on No Feelings, which, like I said, that'll upload tomorrow, and you guys get to hear that conversation. Go check that out on Anchor. But Brad Stevens, I think we at least need to fairly critique that he did not do a good job in this series. The Celtics, like, Brad Stevens was given all this credit because he made adjustments. He put this guy in at the right time. He gave this guy playing time. When the defense is doing this, he ran these kind of plays. When his offense is doing that, or when the other opposing team's offense is doing that, he ran this kind of defense. He made no adjustments in this Celtics-Cavaliers series. And the biggest one that bugs me, and people give the excuse, well, he had kids, and he was missing Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Okay, true. But you are what you are, and you use what you have. And the Celtics came into this series almost like with this mentality of, if we just win at home, we have home court, why even try in Cleveland? We're just going to win these 4 games in Boston. And I bought it. I was just like, hey, they got home court. They can just win those 4 games. Who cares if they struggle in Cleveland? They got this series. And the problem with me thinking that, and the players thinking that, and the coach being okay with that, is that they are the coach and players, and I am an outsider who has no true impact on the game. Understand something. Brad Stevens should have picked up on that, and the Celtics, and he should have switched something up, that if he knew the regular rotation of Rozier, Tatum, Brown, and Horford, and whoever else, Marcus Morris, were not going to be giving 100% effort on the road, why aren't you giving guys who might give you that effort, guys who might reach out and give that extra amount of time? Why aren't you putting them into the game? Like, putting him makes Greg Popovich so great is he's never been afraid to pull a player, to insert a player. We got Danny Green have playoff success because Popovich threw him in at the right time. We have Patty Mills who he threw in at the right time. We have a DeJuan Blair. There's so many examples of Popovich over the years putting guys in not even when they needed to be, but just, hey, these guys aren't going to do it for me. And Popovich had 3 Hall of Famers. Hey, go in. He would pull Tim Duncan out of games and be like, hey, you go in. DeJuan Blair, go in. Replace my all-time greatest power forward of all time with my 6'7" undersized power forward who doesn't have ACLs. And not just Greg, because obviously I think Greg Popovich is the greatest coach of all time. So maybe I'm being unfair when I'm comparing Brad Stevens to him. And like I said, this is not a matter of where I rank Brad Stevens. I think Brad Stevens is a great coach. But let's be honest, Brad Stevens had a bad series. Why do we criticize Mike D'Antoni? because he doesn't adjust in the playoffs. Why did we criticize Don Nelson? Because he doesn't adjust in the playoffs. He's just, hey, this is what I am. Here you go. When you're a great coach, when you are, and I think right now a great coach is Eric Spoelstra. I think Eric Spoelstra makes great adjustments during the game. I think even a Quinn Snyder made really good adjustments. He physically ran out of players. I think if you want to go all time, obviously you've got a Jerry Salone, you've got a Pat Riley, you've got a Phil Jackson, and these guys are guys who have had Hall of Famers on these teams, these guys who have had great organizations behind them, and they still step up and they're like, I am the coach, we're doing this, let's switch something up, let's do something to make this game a little different. We're not just standing packed. The idea that Brad Stevens should just have this invisible protective shield, that because he's the best young coach or that he's the best or one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in the NBA, and that just, he's just so shiny, like we shouldn't be able to go after him, is a bunch of bull. Brad Stevens did not have a good series as far as coaching the Boston Celtics. He had a great year. I think he is a great coach, but he did not have a great series. Appreciate once again, and as always, anyone who was listening on any of the audio platforms, anywhere they listen to podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher. You guys know the drill. If you are watching one of the segment videos on YouTube, if you watch the live stream on YouTube, shout out to you, Eric. And I will see you guys again on Thursday. Peace out.